हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज के वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे नसीम अजीकल और उनके पोम एंटरप्राइज के बारे में। पोम के बारे में डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं पोएट के बारे में। चलिए पोएट के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं। नसीम Ezekiel was an Indian Jewish poet, playwright, editor, and an art critic. He was a foundational figure in post-colonial India's literary history, specifically for Indian writing in English. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1983 for his poetry collection Latter-day Saints by the Sahitya Academy, India's National Academy of Letters. He was born on 16 December 1924 in Bombay. His father, Moses Ezekiel, was a professor of botany at Wilson College, and his mother was principal of her own school. In 1947, Ezekiel earned a BA in literature from Wilson College, Mumbai, University of Mumbai. In 1947-48, he taught English literature and published literary articles. He married Daisy Jacob in 1952. In the same year, Fortune Press published his first collection of poetry, The Bad Day. His poem, The Night of the Scorpion, is used as study material in Indian and Colombian schools. He also penned poems in Indian English. पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं इसके कुछ की फीचर। एंटरप्राइज अ पोम by Nissim Ezekiel has manifold layers of on its actual meaning. Readers can interpret the poem in their own way. It being a well-written piece of art welcomes various critical appreciations. Apart from the meaning of the text, the essence of Indianness is there in the poem. These elements make it so dear to the Indian readers. The language used in the poem isn't so tough that one cannot understand the meaning after reading it for the first time. It is an allegorical poem describing the journey of life and the poet's realization at different stages of his journey. The poet talks about going on a pilgrimage. He's not alone in the journey. There are other pilgrims too in that group. They have set out to reach a destination that is unknown to the readers. It is not disclosed even at the end of the poem. There is a hint in the poem that the place is somewhere near the sea. The poet divides their journey into some stages. In each stage, the path they have chosen is not just smooth. They have to face so many difficulties in order to reach their goal. Some members leave the group for their difference of opinion. One such person is an intellectual and prose writer. The situation worsens when they are close to their destination, but the ending is paradoxical. Even after suffering from hardships to reach their coveted goal, they feel dejected after reaching there. At last, the poet paradoxically remarks, "Home is where we have to gather grace." Enterprise by Nazim Ezekiel has a specific structure and rhyme scheme. The poet himself is the sole speaker in the poem, so we can say it is a lyric poem. There are specific instances where the poet uses a first person narrative technique to describe the journey. The poem is 30 lines long. There are a total of 6 stanzas in the poem, each containing 5 lines. The rhyme scheme is ABABA and it continues throughout the poem without any break. The poem is written in iambic tetrameter. In a poem composed in iambic tetrameter contains 4 feet in each line and the stress falls on the second syllable of each word. There is an important variation in the last line of the poem. It is justified as the poet is in a paradoxical mood at the end of the long journey. The last line is in trochaic pentameter and the last foot is catalectic. This falling rhythm at the end is significant as per the mental condition of the poet. 1 and 2 stanza 1 started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds in making all the burdens light. The second stage explored, but did not test the call. The sun beat down to match our rage. We stood it very well, I thought, observed, and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought, the way of serpents and of goats, three cities where a sage had taught. In the first stanza, the poet says that their journey began as a pilgrimage. At the beginning of the journey, the poet's mind was in an exalted state, and all the burden of his life seemed nothing in comparison to his end ever. And the second stage of the journey, the poet faced some difficulties, but he wasn't in the mood of leaving the journey in the middle. In the second stanza, the poet makes it clear that he was alone on the journey. He was in a group of people who had the same goal in their minds. During the journey, the poet took a descriptive note on his surroundings. He came across different people in his way, and he especially mentions a sage whom he saw preaching his lesson in three cities. After reading the stanza, it becomes clear that the poet was much focused on the surrounding instead of thinking about his aim. Stanza 3. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. Later in their enterprise, some differences of opinion arose among the team members on how to cross a desert patch. The matter was trivial, but it made an intellectual of the group leave the journey. The poet says that the person was skilled in prose writing and was the best among the group. The way was not smooth for the poet and his group. They faced difficulties from both sides. In the next phase of the journey, they were attacked twice and had lost their way. Some members of the group were so distressed that they couldn't carry on the journey and they left. In such a condition, the poet resorted to praying for gathering some hope. Stanza 5 and 6. We noticed nothing as we went, a straggling crowd of little hope, ignoring what the thunder meant, deprived of common needs like soap. Some were broken, some merely bent. When we reached the place, we hardly knew why we were there. The trip had darkened every face. Our deeds were neither great nor rare. Home is where we have to gather grace. There's a use of enjambment between stanza 4 and 5, so readers have to begin from the last line of the previous stanza to understand the whole meaning. In this stanza, the poet says that the leader of the group has gotten a hint of their destination, which was near a sea. They didn't find any such thing on their way. It brought more frustration in the poet's mind, and he was just left with a little ray of hope. In the course of their journey, they couldn't even fulfill their basic needs. Here, the poet sarcastically remarks that they were deprived of common needs like soap. At last, when they reached the place, in their broken and bent state, they felt unsatisfied. The long and arduous journey seemed meaningless. They realized that their feat was neither great nor rare. At the end of the poem, Ezekiel ironically remarks, home is where we have to gather grace. Poetic devices. The first line is an example of sarcasm. The poet says that their journey isn't an ordinary one. It was like a pilgrimage for the group. It is meant to bring a sense of humor at the same time a smell of irony in the poem. There are some other instances where the poet uses the same literary devices. Such lines are withstood it very well. I thought on how to cross a desert patch and I tried to pray. Last line of the first stanza, the sun is personified. In the second stanza, the way of serpents and of goats is a metaphor. Serpents is a metonymy of mischievous persons with whom the poet met during the enterprise. In the fourth stanza, readers can find another metonymy in the word section. Here, section stands for the persons in the poet's group. In the line, he smelled the sea, the poet uses another metonymy Here, the sea symbolizes the same days. In the last stanza, Ezekiel invests the abstract idea trip with the ability to blacken their face. It is definitely a use of personification. The last two lines of the poem contain a deep meaning which seems absurd to the readers at the juncture of the poem. Here, the poet uses a literary device which is called epigram in the art of rhetoric. Themes. The poem Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel explore themes of the journey of life, idealism versus reality, and ambition versus achievement. The poem uses the metaphor of a pilgrimage to represent ups and downs of life. Journey of life. The poem suggests that journey is more important than the destination. The pilgrim's excitement turns to frustration as they face difficulties and failures. Idealism versus reality. The poem explores how idealism is cut down by reality. The pilgrim's initial enthusiasm is no match for the challenges of their journey. Ambition versus achievement. The poem focuses on human ambition and achievement. The pilgrims start their journey with hope and courage, but obstacles appear as they progress. Symbols. The poem uses symbols like the sun, desert, and thunder to represent the challenges that can diminish hope. The final life of the poem, home is where we have to gather grace, is the speaker's conclusion after facing so much misery on his pilgrimage. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद है। कैसी लगी हमें कमेंट करके बताएं और हमें ये भी कमेंट करके बताएं कि आप आने वाले वीडियोस किस टॉपिक पर देखना चाहते हैं। अगर वीडियोस अच्छी लगी तो लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माई चैनल। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे। थैंक यू।